Right, there we go. Welcome everyone to today's show. I am going to get Instagram started right here. And thank you all for being here. My name is Anthony Barokas. Wait, I have a title for that. My name is Anthony Barokas. I'm the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek. And I want to thank you all for being here for today's show. As always, love to say welcome everyone. And also love to know where you're watching from. This is an interactive show. The whole point of tuning in live is because there's an interaction. You are here, I am here, we are both here together. And speaking of live, I'm gonna shut the studio door. So in case my son comes walking around and we don't, he doesn't become part of the show. So where are you watching from? That's one of the cool things. I love to always find out, where is everyone watching from? I did a show yesterday for Bird Dog, and literally it was like we had somebody from every continent. We had somebody from Australia, we had India, we had Germany, we had New Jersey and the USA, we had Canada, we had Mexico, we had the Grenada Islands or something like that. It was just all the way around the world. It was just very, very cool. So where are you watching from? This is really cool. Hey, there we go. And I think you were here for yesterday's show too. So hello from Greece. Thank you for joining me. I think you were here. Were you here? Let me know in the comments. I know everybody's 20 seconds behind, but I'd love to know where everybody's watching from. And also, this is an interactive show. We have a topic. We'll cover that topic, but it's not limited to that topic. So if you have other streaming questions, feel free to put them in the comments. That's the whole point of tuning in live, is that you have the added advantage that it's like having a consultation, but it's for free. I'll do my best to answer your questions to the best of my knowledge. And unlike AI, I'm not going to just search the web and regurgitate what's already out there. I can give you years of experience, but I cannot search the web and give you, in 0.2 seconds content that's already out there. You can search that yourself. A couple other people chimed in. Kirk Riley's in Dallas, Texas. Good to have you back, Kirk. And G. Ruggiero is in Phoenix, Arizona. So thank you all for being here. Again, wherever you're watching from, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Already we've got 2 continents chiming in already. We've got Europe and the US. So feel free to chime in the comments where you're watching from. And if you have any streaming questions, it could be audio related, it could be PTZ camera related, it could be resolution, streaming codecs, cloud production. Oh wait, that's what we're going to talk about today, cloud production. It could be YOLO Box. It could be the new Magewell Director 1. Have you seen my video on this new Magewell device? Wait, I have to have one right here. If you haven't already seen the video on this is a very cool tool. It's not the subject of today's video, but this is very, very cool. This is the Magewell Director Plus. They call it the 1. I think they should have just called it Plus. That would have helped a little bit. Oh, look at that. No, actually, that purple that's on there is actually purple that's on there. So that's interesting. It looks like it's being replaced with purple, but I don't think it is. Anyway, the Director 1 is very cool. And I have a first look video on the website. So if you are interested in the Magewell products, now that there are 2 streaming all-in-one streaming appliances from Magewell, feel free to check that video out. It does a really good comparison of walking through all the features of the Director 1, as well as telling you how it compares to the Director Mini. And people always asked for when the Mini came out, why is it called Mini? Is there going to be another one? Well, now there is another one. So again, thank you all for being here. And the reviewer count keeps growing. I see it up here in the corner on my screen. So if you haven't already chimed in, tell me where you're watching from. And again, if you have any streaming questions, feel free to throw them into the comments. I have comments coming in from YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Instagram. So if you're on any of those platforms, feel free to chime in with a question and I will do my best to answer it. Today's show is sponsored by RC Cola. It's not actually sponsored by RC Cola, but I like RC Cola, and it went away, or the diet RC Cola went away when COVID hit, and just this month it's back. So yay. It's not a paid product placement, but I like RC Cola. And it's back. So people always make fun of me for drinking Dr. Pepper during the show. So now I'm drinking RC Cola. Again, thank you very much all for being here. Let's see, what are we going to talk about today? I think we should talk about Vimeo Cloud Studio. And what this really means is, if you're familiar with StreamYard or Restream, they have cloud studios. There's other products out there as well. Vimeo, which, as everybody knows, is a content delivery network, actually has their own cloud studio in Vimeo, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The cool thing with the Vimeo Cloud Studio is that it's tied in with everything else with Vimeo. Vimeo is a huge content delivery network. It is a repository for video. You can show video. You have full control over what the player looks like. And because it's a paid service, Vimeo, and this is not a paid service for Vimeo. They are not paying me. I recently used it on a 6-week project for a client, and then I reached out to them and said, hey, can I show this to my viewers, because I think this has actually got a couple of interesting things that might be of interest to viewers. So I got permission to use their cloud studio, their account, not my account. My account doesn't have studio. And I thought that would be of interest to viewers like you who don't necessarily have all the tools, because, streaming Android tablet costs $1,000 or more. But what does a cloud studio cost? You don't have to buy anything. It's in the cloud. And as everybody knows from me working on the show week to week, I'm actually using Restream as part of a cloud studio to manage the comments. So I'm not producing in Restream. I'm just merely feeding in my locally produced feed, but then I'm using Restream to manage all the comments and put the comments on the screen and the little bar on the bottom and things like that. So I'm using a combination of resources. People ask me, what's the best tool? You can use multiple tools at the same time. And Vimeo Cloud Studio is one of those tools out there that you can leverage. So without any other technical questions coming in, hey, let's get right to it. So we're going to come over here, go to this one. Yeah, let's go to that one. And what we have over here is, this is the Vimeo Cloud Studio. I already have it set up, but then we'll go through and we'll build this. And I want to cover each of these little icons right here, as well as some of the other settings on the other side, because there's a couple interesting good features and there's a couple caveats too. So we'll get to all of that. So be sure to stick around for these. What we have here is, this is the Cloud Studio, and it kind of looks like most of the studios that you've seen. On this side, you've got your sources and different things you can bring into the studio. Down here, you have scenes. So if you're in Restream Restream has scenes that you can build. StreamYard, I don't think, is very scene-based yet. You can create different layouts and you can do custom layouts, but it's not scene-based. And then, so these scenes are down here on the bottom. Of course, you get your camera and your audio icons, screen sharing, documents and everything. And then this is your output and other settings over here on the right. When I was producing, I actually had a preview window up here. So what I could be setting down here could be is essentially considered preview, and then I would send it to program, which was up here. And also in the couple weeks since I produced that series, this layout has changed a little bit. And that's going to be one of the key things that you need to understand with these cloud production tools. They're not yours. They exist in the cloud. And when those cloud companies, the programmers, decide to put a new feature in, there's no way for you to opt out. So you can be using it and then you come back the week later and things have moved, things have changed. There's nothing you can do. Whereas if you had vMix or you had a YOLO box or something like that, and it comes out with an update, you can say, you know what? I have a show this weekend. I have a 3-day thing. I'm not going to update. I'm going to hold off so that I can get through this, and then afterwards, I'm going to update, play with it, learn all the new twists and turns. That's not the case with the cloud production tool. When they push out an update, it's just there. It just exists. And there's nothing you can do except learn it, like, immediately. So it is a big challenge, because you don't have control of the platform. But then again, it's vastly cheaper than purchasing the full copy of like Vmix or something like that, or purchasing the big YOLO box. So there's trade-offs. So let's get back into this. Again, this is your program window right here, and you can see this is the blue screen I have behind me, which is keyed out in my Director Mini and exists in this platform. And that's going to be one of the first caveats. There's no background replacement in the Vimeo Studio. And that was actually a big issue for the show that I was working on, because when they wanted to have a custom background behind them, the host and things like that, they literally had to put a big, step and repeat banner behind them, a physical banner, to be a background replacement. It was kind of weird to see that, like, this blue screen that I have behind me being replaced with my purple can't be done in the Vmix or in the, I'm sorry, not Vmix. Vmix can definitely do it, but it cannot be done in the Vimeo cloud. Because when you come down here, you can select your camera settings and you can pick from all these different, Vmix, external, NDI, different things like that, but there's no background replacement. And that is, I feel, a pretty big omission. Hopefully that is something that Vimeo addresses, but they've had this studio for a while, well over a couple years, and it's still not there. So I don't know. It's there in everything else, but it's not here. Not even blur, but just background replacement. Nope. If you've got a blue screen behind you, you've got a blue screen behind you. There's no background replacement. So that is something I find is the first big omission. Let's counter that with a very cool feature. Okay, up here on the left here, I have my camera right here, and then I have a second camera. The second camera is actually an invitation I sent out to someone to come in. The key difference with Vimeo is each invitation you send out is unique. And I know from using Restream and StreamYard and other platforms, you get one guest link and these guests just sort of like pile up and you can't control what's going on. With the Vimeo Studio, you can. So I have this guest link right here. And what I've done is that guest link can be added to a particular scene. So here is my scene. This is the scene I'm on. And I can scroll over here. Apparently it doesn't scroll to the right with the thing. I can add a scene. And then I'm going to add my guest. There's my guest camera. That guest camera is on that scene. And if I want to cut back to me, there's the me camera. And there's the guest camera. I control what's in the shot. If I want to do a two-shot, I'm going to create a layout with side by side. And I'm going to come into this layout and let's add my camera, and then let's add the guest camera, and there we go. I can do that, or I can change the layout of that scene so that, let's just say I want to feature the guest a little bit more. So, no, I want to feature the guest a little bit more. So let's come over here and drag this down here. There we go. I want to feature the guest. So that's actually a live camera. So you can see me waving. That's actually a live camera coming from a connected computer over there. So I can arrange this, and this arrangement stays there. So I can cut between this multi-view and this, or I can change the way that scene looks and go like this. There we go. So I'm small on the side and the guest is larger. And then I can cut right to me so I can answer the question or ask a question. So what do you think about this? Tell me what you think. And then cut back to them like this. This is really cool because this is very much like Vmix and other applications where you control who goes where. It's not free flowing. Everything is just thrown on the screen and then you have to like drag it live. This is like you have pre-built scenes for everybody who wants to be a guest. And you can actually invite viewers, to be guests in there, kind of like Zoom. We didn't do that during the show, so I might be misspeaking. but I believe you can do that because people can watch on Vimeo, and then you can send out, take that, create a link, send that link to that person as who is a viewer through the comments area, I believe. If you've tested it and you know otherwise, let me know. I don't want to misspeak, but that feature right there is huge because we were able to build a show, as you can see down here. Let me scroll this back over to the left, where I start with a countdown. Here's my countdown. We're going to say start, and then I would say start broadcasting the show. So now over here it says go live because I'm not going to go live. So this would be playing, and then up here there's a video behavior. What does it do when it's done playing? So do you want to play once and stop? Do you want it to loop, which if you have your short video, you could just have the video loop pre-show and then just cut right to your show when it's ready? Or do you want to auto transition? And in this case, like I have a physical countdown, I don't want it to loop because there's actual countdown numbers on there. When it reaches the end, it's going to automatically transition to scene 1, which I can always just click on, and there it is. It's me. So like the show I have in the Mage World Director that runs this show, I'm able to play something in the beginning, and then at the end of that scene, it automatically goes to turn the mic on, clean the background, and there it is. So that is very cool as well, to be able to like preload a video, have the video play, and then when it's done playing, go to the next scene automatically. The more you can automate in your show production, the more reliable your show will be. That way you don't have to like, how do I do this? How do I do this? Because for instance, like I said, I'm using Restream. Restream doesn't have this capability. If I do a countdown if I play a video in Restream, which I do for the Bird Dog series I do, my camera is live behind it. My mic is open behind it. I don't have scenes that I can pre-configure where my camera mic is off and then my camera mic is on. When I play this video, this scene 1 over here on the left, that video is the only thing in that scene. I'm backstage. And that brings me to another really cool point. Me and all the guests, if we are not on stage, like if I'm playing the countdown video right here, if I'm playing this video pre-show, we are all backstage and we can all just have a conversation. Our mics are live, if you have them turned on. Our mics are live, and we're able to hear both the program audio, but also ourselves. So I can give them, okay, you got 2 minutes. Okay, you got 30 seconds. All right, coming to you. And I can count them in. And that is also another really good feature, this live automatic backstage. Whereas if you were trying to produce in Zoom, you have to purchase like a higher level of service. It's not a meeting, it's not a webinar. You have to go up to a session in order to be able to have a backstage where you can communicate. And then also talking about communication, over here, not the teleprompter, where it is there's a Q&A and the chat. I don't know where the chat went. Oh. No? Nope, not the teleprompter. Yes, there's a teleprompter in here too. I'll get to that. Go away. Oh, I don't know where the chat went. It was there a minute ago. So there's a way that you can chat to the audience, everybody who's watching, because you'll see all of their chat, but then you could also contribute to that chat and interact with them while you're in the studio. But then there's also a second chat just for people who are part of the production, which is also really handy. If there's something like, I can't find so-and-so, we're going to come back to you. And you can have that communication so that if they are live and they're in the show, they are not backstage and they lose that ability to hear the backstage communication. So that chat is a great way to be able to have that communication with them in a way that isn't part of the show. A message came in. Oh, that's on the other mouse. And it's interesting. I do all my video streaming with RTMP. This could be very handy. Yes. And similarly, I go through Restream, and Restream has an RTMP multicasting. And I can RTMP into Restream, and then Restream would send it out to all my destinations. But I'm actually using the studio, much like this. So in front of me, I see the Restream version of their studio right here, and I see all the viewer comments on the right-hand side. So I get those viewer comments because I'm going through the studio. And when I put them up on the screen, like this, that's being done in Restream Studio. So, like I said, being able to leverage, I can have like all this production down here on the table and Vimeo, vMix and things like that, and then also leverage another tool for those things as well. And I've done hybrids where I've done a production locally, and then I go to the guest segment, and that's happening in the cloud or via another solution. It doesn't all have to happen in one particular solution. So let's go back to here, and then we'll continue down the list. So I've got my sources, and then if you want to add a speaker, we're going to click this. I'm going to say this is going to be Fred, and Fred's email, fred@streamtek.us, and then I say title. He's the COO, and then I can generate an invite link. So that is now created as a distinct source. Again, like I says, me, the other camera, that's how I created that distinct source. And then if I wanted to be able to have Fred, so we can come back down here to these multi-views that I created, I can come down here to this one, and then I can add Fred to this. Oh, no more room on this scene. Switch to auto layout for a different layout. Okay, auto. So this, and then I can add this. So auto lets you have more, but when you've got just the two, creating that arrangement is really cool. So now I have auto, and I can add as many as I want. It'll just throw them up there. So that way is great. Or I just want to have a scene with just Fred. Or I know Fred is going to talk about, and then I'm going to add Fred, and I'm going to add, what do I else got here? I have, not graphics. I have some slides. Fred's going to talk about this slide presentation. So let me do this, and we're going to set this up to be side by side. And there's Fred talking about the slides. I can pre-build that, and it's just Fred. All the other mics are automatically off. So it's kind of also doing the auto mixing as well. So here's Fred. So I can, bring Fred on as part of this discussion. Hey, let's all talk. Hey, Fred, so tell us about this new project you got going on. Here, Fred talking about the project. Fred then goes to the slide presentation about the project. You can see how the scene-based makes it easy. This is where we're going, this is where we're going, this is where we're going. And then being able to define what is in each of those scenes, pre-build them, and you see how fast this comes together. This is very cool. And again, when you go back to the first scene here and the video is playing, and you go back to your speakers, we're all backstage. Hey, Fred, how you doing? Okay, are you ready for this? Did you go through the slides? Okay, great, thanks. And then everybody's able to just have a conversation backstage as if you are backstage, and you're just all just standing there. That is really cool. And this is all happening in the cloud. So you got your speakers, that's how you add one. And then like you saw, you can copy the guest link, and then in the edit, you can send the invite via email. So because you put the person's email in there, you could just click that button and whoosh, it goes right out. Or if you wanted to like text message it, you could copy it and then send it in a more formal email, something like that. So that's how you get that. Then you've got your templates. They've got some, color design templates already set up here that I didn't use. I just built this from scratch. You've got some media. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. And you know what? Let me just stop that playing there. It's a little distracting. your media, this column right here, this is where it gets really interesting in terms of being connected to your Vimeo account. Now, the client I was working with has years worth of content on Vimeo. And all of that is accessible right here directly. When you say add media, you can upload something, which I did. I uploaded a couple of my clips to the Vimeo account for this demo, but you're directly able to access anything that's already there. So if you use Vimeo as your content delivery network or CDN, and you're able to control what the players look like, what the page looks like, the colors, the fonts, and all that stuff, you're able to control all of that. It's not YouTube where all of a sudden at the end, all these other ads come up. You control it because Vimeo is a paid service. So that's the key difference. With this, and I say, oh, you know what? I want to add a video. I come over here and I say, let me add a video. It's like all the videos are already there. So if I wanted to add, let's just say I have my soccer video. I come over here, I say add a video. I come up here, I say S-O-C-C-E-R. Oops, and it helps if I spell it right. S-O-C-C-E-R, soccer. There it is. So I can click on soccer, add to event, like that. It's looking through everything that you have. The downside is it's looking through everything you have. And it's a catch-22 because they're in that search. And this is one that got me every single week because we updated multiple videos, the intro video, and sometimes we would play a video as part of the program as well. You can't drill down or go to a specific folder where all the content for this series is. That would be really smart. That would be something I would think would be fairly obvious, but Vimeo doesn't have that. When you say videos and you say add a video, they're like, what's the name of it? I don't remember what the name of it is, but we just, my editor just uploaded it to the folder yesterday. It would be at the top of the folder if sorted by date, that's where I want to go. You can't do it that way, which is why over here, I have a separate tab which shows here's my folder, here's the 3 videos that I put into it, and that's the video. So you need to know the name of the video in order to, in the studio, go and get it. And it's a big speed bump in terms of making it easy. Yes, it's great that you have access to all of your content, and the downside is you have access to all of your content. So if you've been doing, shows every single week, and every single week you create a new pre-show. Well, why did you go up front? Go away. That was weird. Every single week you create a new pre-show. Then when you say pre-show, you're going to have 50 different things show up. It's just annoying. But yes, it's great. It's a double-edged sword. Images. You can upload images. This is great. The downside is Vimeo is not an image resource. So you can't have your images up there already. Every show you create, this is going to be blank, and you have to upload your images again. Even if you duplicate a show, you got to upload your videos again. And that is just annoying to me. It's like, listen, you handle videos. Why can't I have a folder of our backgrounds and stills and thanks for watching and just stills that we use all the time? Why can't I just have them there? Because Vimeo does not do stills. It just doesn't. And then the next one is slides. So you can upload right here, you can upload a slide, and you go in here, go to your, I put them on here. So marketing slide or my programs, open. It's going to upload, it's going to convert my PDF to slides. You say upload, and there it is. So now I've got it, you can see it's converting right here. And you can upload these things and they will be here in this show. But again, Vimeo is not a repository for PDFs or slides or PowerPoints or anything like that. It'll convert them into something it's going to use in this show, but it's going to be tied to this show. And again, that's another gosh, I wish they would just handle the media and let it stay up there, kind of like a Google Drive kind of thing, but they don't. So again, kind of cool, kind of annoying. And Angus mentions, that's a very frustrating way to have to build it. It can be, like I says, it can be frustrating in that you think it should be simpler. Yes, it's convenient to be able to access all of your media, but the why I can't just, say, add video and then just give me that page. Like when I come over here, give me this page, which has all of the folders over here on the left. And there are a lot of folders, so that I can drill down. Here's a test folder, and here are the 3 clips that I uploaded into the test folder for today's show. And it would be nice just to be able to like, yeah, there, done. But no, I have to remember to put this in a separate tab so I can find the program begin countdown. I didn't call it pre-show. I called this one program begin countdown. So if I typed pre-show, if I typed, something like that, eventually I might get to countdown, and then it would show up with all the countdowns. So yes, that is a caveat to be sure. And there you can see the PDF that I made, and can you add it on top of something? No, but I could remove this and then I can add this. So there. This is a PowerPoint. It's formatted 16:9 for a screen. So this way it's part of the show. And you can see up here at the top is the ability to control it. So I can go to the next slide, the next slide, the next slide, the next slide. So this way, that PowerPoint, here I am talking about the PowerPoint, and there's the PowerPoint on the screen. And that way, you're able to have that. And again, like I says, the cool thing is that design is a scene. So I can come from me talking a little bit, hey, this is what's going to go on, and this is what's coming up, and then come back to me, because they are separate scenes, separate camera angles, separate setups with multiple layers. So that is really cool. But again, that goes through the media tab over here on the left. Like I said, we're going to go all the way down this side. Next up, we have lower thirds, and I created one here. So this scene has a lower third. And if I roll over, I kind of think it should kind of be visible all the time. But if I roll over it and I say show, zoop, it rolls onto the screen with the logo and the colors and everything. Really cool. Animated titles on the screen. I got to say, like I use the animated titles here on this show. Animated titles in there. So yes, they have animated titles. That is awesome. And it's one of the plus features. So you can have a good plus side and a minus side, but the plus side, definitely it's there. Accessing it, like, look, I've got this one without and this one with, but you can't, you can rename the scenes here down at the bottom, but it would be nice to have this look a little different. But here I can turn it on and then leave it on and then come back over here to me. So then it just, here's the scene with the graphic, here's the scene without the graphic. That's kind of blah, just popping on and popping off. So just knowing that it's there and being able to manually add it and remove it is going to have to be the way it is. So that is your graphic. And then for your speakers, you can actually have graphics for them as well. Because you can see here's the cell phone that I have over there, and here's Fred that I just added. He's been added, and as you create those invitations, they'll all be there. Continuing down the list, there's the graphics. Next up is your brand. So you can add a logo to the screen. Unfortunately, it looks a little big. There's no sizing, so you'd have to like literally take your logo and create a bigger space around it and figure out how big it needs to be within that box so that when it goes in the corner, it doesn't look as big and chunky as that, because that's as big. That is literally just the logo. So that logo is at size in the corner, or I should say in the corner right here. And so I'm not going to use that. And then down here, this coloring area that says colors. So when we were up here in the graphics section and I had this come on, these colors you see here, this gray, that's where you change this in brand. So you can say your primary color is going to be this deep purple, and the secondary color is going to be a very bright purple, and then save, and then there you go. I changed it in the show, so now it matches the colors of my show. Maybe not 100%, but kind of close. And you can see right there, they've got a hexadecimal. So if you have a color style sheet for your client, you can actually type in the actual color for that. Just type that right in there. In this case, it's AE47ED. So that is your branding. Come down here, Q&A. Q&A is kind of like comments, only it's a separate section, and it's over here on the left. So it's like a lot of these things over here are part of production that happens, like I'm executing it in the show, in the video section of the show. But then these last two things, which is Q&A and polls, are not necessarily show-based. Like if I ask a question here, start a Q&A. Oh, no questions yet. So end Q&A. Moderate questions. Allow. That is coming in, the Q&A is coming in from the audience. They're asking those questions, and I guess you put them up on the screen as comments, just like this thing right here, which I'm going to hide right now. But it's over here. Other tools have the Q&A on the other side where the comments are. When I'm using other tools, there's a Q&A comes up when you're using Zoom. You have your comments bar, and then you have a Q&A bar. They're not part of production per se. It's part of this audience interaction thing, because I feel personally production is things I'm doing as part of the video, not having to work with the chat and things like that. Then we will come down here to your polls. So you can open a poll, and then you can see the poll is out, but it's not part of the show. You see, it didn't jump into the video. I open the poll. Since I'm not actually streaming, there's nobody going to actually answer the poll. And then I show on scene. Replace the lower third with a poll. Confirm. It's not that they're going to be able to click on that. That's still going to be in the other area. So we're going to hide that. But that's actually pretty cool to have it in the show like that, and then things that you've already gone through and archived. You can add a new poll. Here's your question. Here's your answers. You can add additional answers. You can have correct options, and then if you don't like that one, you can throw that one away. Save. Can't save. Didn't type anything in. So that is your polls on that as well. Down here, you can share a screen on the bottom. Let me go down here. Down here, you've got a camera on, microphone on. If you're producing, obviously your camera would be off because you're backstage. You're just a person pushing the button, but you're in the production room anyway. So if you are a producer and you're doing this for a client, you're going to have both of these off. You're never going to be part of the show, but you still have access to pushing all of these buttons, doing all of this over here. You have full control over everything. The thing you can't do is, if you are not visible in the scene, you can't talk. Because if you are not visible in the show, what happens is, if you're not visible in the show, my microphone can be open, but the only place that's going to go is backstage because I'm not on stage. You see what I mean? So if you are on stage, then you're in the show. But if I'm not on stage, I can't contribute just my audio. And that actually happened as part of the show because, somebody was supposed to be there. They were not there. I tried to speak to the audience saying, this person's not here, because the host who was in the show was not backstage. So me talking backstage, she couldn't hear it. I had to talk in the same column she was in. If she was backstage, I could talk to her backstage. If she's in the show, then I need to be in the show too in order to tell her. So that's where the texting came, the using the chat between the speakers became important, because these two go together in terms of there's no voice of God from the producer into the show. So let me close that off and put my camera back on. Hello. Then over here, you can have the teleprompter, which makes it very cool that if you wanted to just have someone, you could load a script in here and you can record your own teleprompter. And if you have a guest that you want to record them and here's the teleprompter, you can have this as a teleprompter and it's up here. You know, it'd be nice if it was a little higher, but you can't really get it because, you know, obviously the cameras are all going to be at the very top edge of the thing. And if they're looking down a little bit, they're looking down a little bit, and you can kind of see that, you know, a little bit. But that is a really cool feature in here as well, to be able to have a prompter for those times when you just need to record, you know, the HR person saying thank you and welcome to this thing and and this is what your role is and be sure to talk to so and get your things here and everything and welcome to the company. So you need to record that person, the actual person, but they're not a TV person. They're not going to memorize the whole thing, so they can read it and then you can record it and then you have the video. So there is your teleprompter. Over here on the right, you got your basic settings, which is the title of the event, the description of the event, the privacy of the event. Like right now, I'm hiding it from Vimeo because what I'm doing here, I don't need to be part of the library. It doesn't need to show up in the library of all the different media that Vimeo has. That's really cool. Embed privacy, it can be embedded anywhere. So, but this has a URL and Vimeo will produce this video and I can embed it on a web page. And it's available for all audiences. Close that. Schedule. You can schedule it for a certain date and time based on whatever time zone you're in. And if you have a recurring event, you could have it automatically schedule and have those visible. Coming down here, production. The latency, you can adjust the latency from your standard to a low latency of 5 to 7. And then there's also fail-safe streaming, which means if you have, it's not selectable here, but it is available as an option in case you've got low data and it may bottom out. What it can do is it can keep, you have a buffer, and if something is not there, it will try to send it again. And then if I was doing a show like I'm doing this show, 5 to 7 second delay is actually pretty cool in terms of having that conversation between you, the viewer, and me, the person doing the production. You can shorten that delay. So when I say, hey, where's everybody watching from? Wait, let me go do that. Let me pick the right mouse. And if I come over here and say, welcome everyone to the show. What streaming questions do you have? I say it now, you don't get to see that for 20 seconds because that's the lag time on YouTube and Facebook. And I can adjust it on YouTube. You can't really adjust it on Facebook, but adjusting those things has to be done differently on every platform because I'm using other content delivery networks. I'm not using, Restream is not a content delivery network. Vimeo is both. So you have that ability to adjust the delay in the studio because you're using them as the content delivery network. Take that off. All right, continue down the right-hand side here. Registration. Now registration is off. You can actually turn it on and have people sign up and use this for data collection. So you can say, give me your email and other information so that because Vimeo is also the content delivery network, there's also that gatekeeping. You can actually step back and hold people away. You can set the video to only be viewable in certain countries. You can set it to only be viewable at a certain time. So after the fact, it can be like closed off and walled off. So if you've got a live event, you want people there live, and you don't want people saying, oh, I'm just going to follow the link 3 hours later. Nope, you can turn that off. And your destinations. There is, of course, Vimeo, you can see you can customize. This is what I was talking about in terms of Vimeo customization. Over here, recurring schedule. Where's the play button? Auto at the bottom, in the center. Do you want a progress bar or not? Do you want a volume control or not? Do you want a transcript or not? Do you want full screen possible or not? Do you want the Vimeo logo? I'm gonna say no. Continuing down, what are the colors of the thing? Do you want to add a custom logo? Do you want to have a live label when it's live? Do you want a profile picture? And then also, do you want it to be part of a playlist? Do you want it to autoplay another video afterwards? Do you want it to show a schedule, an event schedule for a part of a series, or do you want this thing to stand alone? Those are like a lot of really nuanced branding and customization of your player that you can really get into here. That's, and center. Oh, okay. That is just the play button. So that is some really cool features that you're not going to find in your YouTube player, you know, because you're using their platform. You don't tell them what to make it look like. Whereas when you have a content delivery network like Vimeo or Boxcast, or, you know, there's several other, you know, content delivery networks where you can really customize what the viewer sees. And then of course down here, because Vimeo is a streaming, this is for streaming, you can of course send it to, you can of course send it to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. And you can also RTMP it as well. So those things are available as choices. Now, there's the chat. So here you can see at the chat at the top, I click the little chat button. You can chat with the audience. You can see all of the chat with the audience. Now, there's a very interesting feature with this chat in that you see over here, and this is something that we did leverage. It says turn on. You would think chat is on. You can turn on the chat, but you can also turn off the chat. And we did this because we wanted the people to stop chatting and we wanted them to focus on the fact that we're going to give you some, you know, important information now. So don't be like, hey, I'm here, over here. Great to see everybody. Hey, Bill, hey, you know, don't be chatting. Listen. Just like if you were in the room and somebody was, you know, telling you about the HR policies. You're not going to be chatting on the phone. You're going to be paying attention. So this was a great way for us to be able to like, okay, there's the chat bar. And before the show, during the countdown and during the greeting and everything, the chat was available. Everybody saying hi and everything. And then when we got to the actual part where we were delivering the information, we turned the chat off. And then after that part was done, we came over here and we turned the chat back on. And people were able to talk with each other. And then down at the bottom, as it says right here, we can message the audience. But then up here on the right, you see right here, it says speakers. So I'm able to click over there, and now I'm able to message just the other speakers over here, which gets around that problem where if the host is in show and the producer is backstage, they can't talk with each other. The host, of course, can be heard by the producer, but the producer can't talk in the host's ear. It's not as capable as like Vimeo, where you can build a separate special audio bus. I actually have a video on that on StreamTek. But over here, there's a special speaker chat channel so that you can just say, hey, listen, you know, this has happened. We're going to end 5 minutes early today. Or, you know, feel free to run as long as you want. Just keep vamping. We need 5 more minutes till the person's ready. You know, or something. You're able to communicate to whomever's actually in the show. So that is a cool feature as well. And then you can share the link to the event that's actually being published. Here's the settings, your analytics, which is when it's actually live, you will see what's going on here in terms of viewer count, interactions, comments, and things like that. And then, of course, that is who is on the team. And then there's the big go live button that says do it. Now you can build these things ahead of time and just have them lined up too as part of a series. That's also very cool. So that's walking through the Vimeo back end. A couple comments came in. It's very powerful, but very limited at the same time. I think they all are, actually. You know, when you come to think of it, like I'm using Restream, and I've been using Restream for years, and I have an annual account with them, and I have scenes. That's great. There's kind of some issues with scenes sometimes, and I do like the fact that I can control my Vimeo scenes, my restream scenes with this. I can go between the next scene and the previous scene, and then when I get to a scene that has a slide presentation, I've got different arrow buttons for the slide presentation. So I can go forward in the slide presentation separate from going between the scenes, because the scenes are lined up on the edge of my screen, as opposed to in Vimeo, where they're lined up across the bottom of the screen. StreamYard puts them over here on the side. That's just different ways of doing the same thing. Restream has a private chat, which is in a separate area. It's not the same column that you toggle between. I actually have two different chat columns on the screen, one for the private chat for everyone that's involved, and the second one is the chat that is the public chat that you all can see on Facebook. And ooh, somebody jumped in from Twitch. Yay! Cheap viewers on, oh yeah, thanks a lot. Great. Can I delete that? Add block list. Yeah, let's do that. Saul from Joliet TV says, hello from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you very much. And I'm late again. We'll rewind to start from the beginning. That's one of the nice things about DDD live streams. Can you flip the screen? No, you cannot flip your camera. I think that's what you mean. I think you mean flip the camera. With regards to media that you upload, you probably don't want to flip that. You can move it around the screen, you can resize it, but there's not like the same controls if you were using a Director Mini or vMix or something like that, where you can, like, you know, flip it horizontally and really get crazy with it. So there's not flipping of your media, and unfortunately there's no background replacement and there's no horizontal flip of your camera as well. Let's double check that. And this is why I love doing live shows. So here's my camera, and you know, these are my camera sources. I don't know why the box ends here, but the things keep going. And there's no camera settings over here on the right, and layouts, overlays, show lower thirds, show the pole, and that's basically it. There's not a way I can see, here's my camera over here, maybe there's more edit. Nope, I can just edit my name. Remove from the scene, and there's my microphone. Backstage settings. Backstage is enabled. So now you can see I am on stage, and there are the people that are backstage. And if you are on stage right here, if this person is on stage, they can only see and hear other people who are on stage. And then if you are backstage, you can only see, you can see in this little sidebar, you know, they have a sidebar too, you could hear each other, but only people who are backstage. I'll say that, but you can also hear the program. So if the program is a really loud pre-show with some really great music, communicating backstage can be hard. Or if your program is somebody delivering a lot of talking content and you're trying to talk over the talking content, sometimes it can get kind of hard to decipher which of the voices you're listening to, especially if the person backstage, their voice is not as loud as, say, the recorded content or whomever is on stage. So that can be, you know, if you have someone who has a very soft-spoken voice and they're talking like this and they're saying, I don't really think I can do this, and it's really quiet, that can be hard to hear over top of the program, because you're also going to hear whoever's on, you're going to hear whoever's on stage, you just can't speak to them. Another interesting facet in terms of just being a producer that I haven't seen any other platform do, like when I have Restream and if I close something, the big program window gets bigger. It fills the entire screen. I can close the chat and everything on the right hand side and I get a big screen, or I can break it out. Here, this is my program window, and if I close the speaker window, it doesn't get any bigger. And if I close the setting window, it doesn't get any bigger. So if you really wanted to like fine tune something, I have all of this space all the way across the screen, and it won't get any bigger. I don't know why, but it doesn't. And you know, as you can see, you've got limited space at the bottom for your scenes. So you end up, like I've been doing for the show, scrolling back and forth. So if all of a sudden I wanted to jump between me with my lower third, here's my lower third, and now I want to jump to the multi or jump to Fred. Here's Fred, and now I want to jump back to me with the lower third. I'm over here, and then I've got a video. Here's the video, and it should play automatically. There it goes. A little bit of a hesitation. And then what I wanted to do, I wanted to auto transition to the next thing, and then back to me. So you can see it's a little, it'd be nice if this was separate from the little blue window and going across the whole bottom. And then maybe they could take these little video and audio things and put them over here where I already have a toolbar at the top. You know what I'm saying? So take this little piece and put this little piece up here or over here, because you're affecting what's happening in this scene. That's what these things are doing. They're affecting what's happening in this scene. And this bar with your scenes could be all the way across the bottom. That would be really handy. Just, if I was in charge of Vimeo Studio, things I would change. It's a common thread. As he said, it's powerful but very limited at the same time. I wouldn't say it's very limited. I think all of the cloud production tools are limited in some way. They work differently. Like, as I said, in Restream, I can't assign specific people to specific scenes like I can in the Vimeo Studio. That's a really cool feature. I don't have backstage audible chat like I do in Vimeo Studio. That's a really cool feature. I don't have the whole Vimeo platform underneath of me in terms of a content delivery network. That's a really cool feature, to be able to have that whole content delivery platform so that I can create a page, brand it, color and everything, and have the chat, and it's a standalone thing. That is really cool. You have the entire Vimeo platform, and then I'm pulling content from Vimeo, I'm talking about it, and then I'm creating a new program. And when that program is done, it's already in my Vimeo library. That's really cool. And then I can, put it into a folder and, do whatever I need to do with it. You could pull it down, edit it, and then put it back up as an edited version. But you can do that from every platform. So there is a lot of really interesting capability with the Vimeo platform that I think really lends itself to being used, especially the ability to assign a guest to their own scene and to groups of scenes. And you could just keep reusing those, so that if I came down here and I scrolled over to the group, here's the group with 3 people, I can take this scene and I can say duplicate, and then I can move it somewhere else. So I'm building a show so that it's easy. I just keep going forward to the next scene. It's very handy. Another thing you don't see, though, is you don't see the ability to assign a keystroke to this. So you literally have to mouse it every time. You have to scroll and mouse. Whereas in Restream, they're in a vertical column. I can still duplicate and everything, and then I can assign in Restream. I have assigned back a scene, next scene. That's pretty cool. So this way I can just have my fingers on the button. Next scene, next scene, next scene, next scene. I don't want to do it now because I don't know what it would do. So there's pluses and minuses to every platform. Vimeo Studio, Vimeo's Cloud Studio, I feel has some pluses that make it interesting to really look into for certain types of productions. For the production we were doing, it was a really good platform. Being able to assign scenes to different people, being able to turn on the chat, turn off the chat, and the fact that the content was they were already using Vimeo for their entire playback engine. It's embedded on their website, but having all of the content on Vimeo means they control what it looks like, they control what you can see, what you can't see, and how it looks. Being able to also leverage your live shows with that same platform has some real desirable facets. Why is your audio dropping in and dropping out? I don't know that it is because I'm seeing my meters moving the whole time. I can't speak to what you're hearing though. Anyway, that has been my look at the Vimeo Cloud Studio. Again, like I says, each tool, which is the best Cloud Studio, depends on what you want to do with it. Because each of these Cloud Studios has different strengths. You know, whether it be StreamYard, whether it be Restream, whether it be Vimeo Studio, whether it be some other. There's several others out there as well. All of these different studios have different strengths, and they have different niggling things that you wish weren't there, but you still have to work around. And I think in terms of which one is best, it comes down to which one is best for what you want to do with it for that particular type of stream. Because even that can change from week to week, from show to show. And unless you have any other questions in the last 20 seconds of the show, I really do appreciate you all being here. As always, I love to, have you all check out the StreamTek channel. Let me just go like this. The StreamTek channel is where you will find all of the content from StreamTek. Our live shows are here on a dedicated live page. And then we've got the shorts. We've got a whole series of videos. And as I have shown in other areas, a really great feature with the YouTube archive is the ability to come over here and type in a specific thing. Let's just say you were interested in a mage well. Then you could type in the word mage well, and any of the videos that deal with the mage well are going to come right up. That makes it super easy to drill down and find the content that you are looking for on the YouTube website. Come over here to Streaming Media. I write for Streaming Media Magazine. You can see various columns, product reviews, and articles right there on streamingmedia.com. If you need to reach out to me, you can go to streamtek.tv. There's a contact us right up here at the top. There's also StreamTek on YouTube or on Facebook, and it's going to keep throwing stuff up here. There's also StreamTek on Facebook. I also have a group called B4 on Micro Four Thirds, where we put big broadcast lenses on Micro Four Thirds and other cameras, so you get that smooth 7-step servo zoom and a constant aperture on a DSLR. And then I also created a group that just vanished for no reason whatsoever. It's because it's Facebook. I also created a group called AirMix for the iPad app from Teradek that has been orphaned but is still available in the store, that gives you multi-camera, live switched video recording and streaming with lots of additional features, including replay, audio mixer, and things like that. And that's available on Facebook as well. If you're in the Dallas area, I have a studio called Frisco Studios. You can look that up at friscostudios.us. And if anybody's looking for live streaming production, you can go to stream4.us, and that's where you'll find me. So with that, I appreciate you all being here. Once again, my name is Anthony Barocas. I'm the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek, and I do appreciate you being here every week. Check out the videos, like, subscribe, and if you find a video that you find is particularly useful, hey, share it on your social media, because I bet you there's a bunch of people that you know that don't know about StreamTek. And as always, thanks for watching.